so now remember, one of the ways that we can show if triangles are congruent is we can show that two angles are congruent, or if we have enough information to show that all three are congruent, we can do that as well. All right, just like before, we fill in what we know. Well, this is 61, this is 61, so although it's not explicitly given me with an arc mark, I know that they're congruent. And then these two angles, just like before, are vertical angles. So yes, these are similar, and it's through angle, angle. You could write angle, angle, angle if you like to as well. And now let's write the similarity statement. They've said KLM, so they went from this triangle, 2 arc marks to 1 to none. So when I'm saying it's similar, I need to write the same corresponding angle. So it's going to start with K as well. I went to the 1 arc mark L, so I need to go to the arc mark here, V, and then I'll finish it with angle W. All right, then for this one, same thing. They started this one, though, with just giving us the arc marks that they're congruent instead of the number. And I can write this arc mark here, and through angle, angle, I know that they're congruent as well. And then they started with triangle UVW, and then it's similar to triangle UVW, that would be USR. All right, just like we did with the congruency statement, we just need to see which side or which angle they are corresponding with, and then we can go ahead and fill that in. All right, the one thing that you need to be aware of is there might be a case here where I give you, and let's say I say that this is 50, this is 30, and then I say that this is 90 degrees. It may appear that I'm not giving you two congruent triangles. I'm sorry, let's say 50 and 40. It may appear that I'm not giving you two congruent triangles, but you might need to solve for this third angle. Well, we know that this adds up to 180, so we can solve that this is 50. And we know that this adds up to 180, so we can solve that this is 40. All right, so sometimes you might need to solve for missing angles. Just know that sometimes you will have to do that work when you're doing these ones angle, angle. All right, let's move on to the next ones. All right, now the next one we're going to go through is side, side, side. Now, when we're given these two triangles, sometimes it might be difficult for you to see which triangles or which side corresponds with which. But if I'm giving you all three measurements, I know 12 has to correspond with 84 because 12 is the smallest side, and so is 84. Right, so I can write 12 over 84. Now, how does this reduce? All right, so we can simplify this. If you don't know if you don't know that 12 goes into 84 a whole number of times, that's fine. We can reduce it by 2 and get 6 over 42. And then if I look, well, I know 6 divides evenly into 42 7 times, so it reduces to 1 over 7. All right, then 13 is the middle number and 91 is the middle number, so it will be 13 over 91. Remember, I have to stay consistent. 13 and 91, it needs to be the smaller number on top since that's how I wrote it the first time. Right, then 13 is prime, so I know that there's not another factor that goes into 13, but since it's reduced by 7, I'm going to say, does 13 times 7 give me 91? Well, this gives me 21. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 2 is 90. So yes, 13 times 7 is 91, so 13 goes into 13 once, 13 goes into 91 7 times. So this reduces to 1 over 7. And then the last one, our largest is 14, our largest is 98. So 14 over 98, same thing. You can reduce this by 2 if you want, if you're not sure what number goes into it other than 2. And then we get 7 over 49, and I know 7 goes into 7 once, and 7 goes into 49 7 times. All right, the hardest part about this is you will need to be able to simplify these fractions. You will not be able to use a calculator for this, so these are something that you will need to be able to do. But since all of these have the exact same ratio, I know, yes, that they are similar. And then to finish this similarity statement, they started with FG. So they went through this red, which was our smallest side. So that means, and then they did to the 8. So they went from the smallest through the largest. So we need to go through the smallest through the largest. So that means it has to be WVU. All right, see how I can determine which side I'm going through? We went through smallest to the largest, smallest to the largest, and that can allow for us to know how we need to write this. All right, now let's do the next one. Here we have 24 as our smallest, and our smallest here is 55. So 24 over 55. Well, there is no common factor that goes into both of these because the only factors that go into 55 are 11 and 5, and the only factors that go into 24 are not 11 and 5, or the other ones are not 11 and 5. So this is its simplest form. So now when I go to look at these other numbers, chances are they're not going to be similar because it's impossible for me to turn 28 into 24 over 55, but let's just check. So 28 over 63. Well, 28 over 63. Well, I know 7 goes into 28 4 times and 7 goes into 63 9 times. Right away, I can stop. These two are not the same ratio, so I know that they're not similar. So it's not always going to work out. Some cases, it'll be no. All right, and just for interest of time, I'm only going through one example with this one, but we also can do side angle side. So same thing, we need to figure out, well, first off, we know these are vertical angles, so I know that they're congruent. Then I need to figure out which side corresponds with which. Well, we can go by 14 smaller than 20, 35 smaller than 50, so we can put 14 over 35. Then we can look and see, can this reduce? Well, 7 goes into 14 twice, 7 goes into 35 5 times. Right? Then I know that this is larger than 20, so they had to correspond as well. So remember, I put the smaller number on top, so or 50 is the largest number, 20 is the largest number, so they corresponded. And then I need to put the smallest one on top. This reduces to 2 over 5 as well. And the angle in between them was congruent. So yes, it is through side angle side. And then we need to write our similarity statement. Well, they did STU. So they did from our vertical angle through the largest side and then back to the side that we don't have any information about. So we will then go through our largest side back through here. So it'll then be triangle SEF. Right? You will see that a lot of this is similar to what we were just doing, just slightly different. So if you're able to understand the congruency part, this is should be easy for you in that case. And that is it for this video now, and that's it for this section. And we will then be moving on to the second part of this.